I said 2025 was going to be a crazy year for professional wrestling. We're only 16 days in the new year and what the fuck? Never underestimate the power of the universe when it wants to throw you a fucking curveball. Here I am getting ready to shoot my thoughts on AEW Dynamite, and yeah, this news dropped. WWE and TNA Wrestling announced multi-year partnership. So I'm going to read this to you from my boys at 411mania.com. WWE and TNA Wrestling have officially announced a multi-year partnership which continues the working relationship established last year. NXT superstars and TNA wrestlers will appear on WWE and TNA programming, including WWE PLEs and TNA pay-per-views. The two have worked together in the past, but the relationship began in earnest last year when Jordynne Grace and Hendry made regular appearances for NXT. Grace also appeared in the Royal Rumble match. It continued this past Tuesday when Knockouts champion Masha Slamovic was an audience for NXT. And I'm going to read a little bit of the press release announcement here. NXT superstars and TNA wrestling stars to appear across weekly WWE and TNA programming, WWE premium live events, and TNA pay-per-views. And it says the agreement will enable talent to garner additional exposure across key WWE and TNA programming, including weekly flagship shows such as NXT, which airs live on the CW, and TNA Impact, select WWE premium live events, and TNA pay-per-view, in turn bolstering their in-ring development with exposure to world-class talent and coaching. This historic relationship demonstrates that collaboration and competition do not have to be mutually exclusive, said Ariel Scherner, Senior Vice President of Content and Distribution for TNA Wrestling and Anthem Sports and Entertainment. Our partnership allows the TNA Wrestling brand and its incredible athletes to reach a significantly wider audience while giving WWE and NXT stars an opportunity to cross the line and gain valuable experience as they join forces with one of the most talented rosters in professional wrestling today. The response to our collaboration over the past year has been tremendous, and both companies have benefited, but the fans have reaped the greatest rewards from this talent crossover and working relationship. WWE Senior Vice President of Talent Development and Creative Shawn Michaels over at NXT said, "We look forward to growing and evolving our partnership with TNA Wrestling and its outstanding group of athletes by creating new opportunities to further the development of our talent and to elevate the viewer experience at home." Former TNA Knockouts World Champion Jordynne Grace and Hendry frequently appeared on NXT programming in 2024, highlighted by an NXT Championship match featuring Hendry and Ethan Page at No Mercy, and an NXT Women's Championship match featuring Grace and Roxanne Perez at Battleground. Many NXT superstars also crossed the line into TNA Wrestling, including Wesley's short-lived reunion with the Rascals, Charlie Dempsey and the North Quarter Catch Crew, Riley Osborne, Dante Chen, Gallus, Ariana Grace, Tatum Paxley, Izzy Dame, Wendy True, Brenly Reese, and more. So yeah, if you couldn't tell by my shirt, it is a new fucking day in professional wrestling. So I'm just going to give you my general thoughts and just spitball because this is all coming out. Everything is brand new. We're still getting reports. We don't know how things are going to turn out. We just are getting things as they come. And I'm just going to share just some of my general thoughts. But first off, this is game-changing. 3 years ago, Vince McMahon wouldn't even sniff TNA's panties. But now we have a multi-year partnership. And this is what I want to say. This is a multi-year partnership. This isn't going to be just some one or two pay-per-view or PLA appearance by TNA or NXT wrestlers. No, this seems to be something that is going to be ongoing for a few years at the very least. So right off the bat, this etches TNA's place firmly as the number 3 promotion in North America. And I just think it is so wild when TNA started out in 2002. And we started hearing about some of these newer names like AJ Styles and Christopher Daniels and Samoa Joe. And we started seeing some of these matches from them. And I thought, man, this company was on the come up. Then Hogan showed up. We had that short-lived Monday Night War between TNA Impact and Monday Night Raw, which that was just a bloodbath. And yeah, there are so many times where I remember it seemed like TNA Wrestling was just on the cusp of going out of business so many times. These guys, as a wrestling promotion, have showed so much resilience that they have been around longer than WCW. But yeah, this is crazy. So yeah, last year, Jordynne Grace showed up at the Royal Rumble. She blew up. Joe Hendry showed up in NXT after he had already started to blow up in TNA, but then he blew up even more. So it sort of seemed to make sense for Jordynne Grace, for example, to sign with WWE. That sort of seemed to be what the end game was. It sort of seemed to make sense for Joe Hendry when his time was up with TNA to sign with WWE, because obviously that's where the bag's going to be. But now we get this partnership, and it sort of makes me wonder how things are going to turn in terms of talent exchange. So is Joe Hendry, for example, going to stay with TNA and win the TNA World title at Genesis? Or is he going to end up becoming an NXT exclusive talent? Are we going to have cross-branded PLEs and pay-per-views now? Are we going to have like a War Games PLE event where we have like TNA and NXT stars competing in a War Games match? Holy fuck. But this is honestly really good for the industry on a couple levels. One, for the talent. So this is for another place where wrestlers have a home. Not saying again that TNA hasn't been a stable wrestling promotion, but this multi-year partnership with WWE definitely stabilizes them as a promotion and as a force to be reckoned with for other indie wrestlers on the come up, or other wrestlers that want to make a jump from another promotion can now go to TNA. And it's good because, we have AEW as a place where wrestlers can work. Anytime that the industry is thriving, where we have multiple competing promotions, where we can have the talent eating good because they can go and work for multiple promotions, that is only good for the industry, for the health of the business. For the TNA wrestlers, this is going to help them substantially, I think, financially, in terms of merchandising. I can see them getting a little bit of a bigger take in terms of action figures. If they release limited edition, TNA NXT cross-branded action figures, I can see, certain wrestlers benefiting from that. I can see certain TNA wrestlers showing up in WWE 2K and those wrestlers getting a financial kickback from that. So that's definitely going to help out. And for the fans, to be able to see TNA wrestlers in WWE on a consistent basis and WWE wrestlers on TNA Impact on a consistent basis is just mind-blowing and mind-boggling to just consider and think about, because again, not even 3 years ago could this even be conceived as a possibility. I also see this as something for WWE and TNA to use to breed the next generation of wrestlers. Obviously, NXT is seen as WWE's third brand, sort of seen as the developmental. But now that there is this partnership in place between WWE and TNA, we have scenarios in place where TNA and NXT can do this talent exchange where maybe for, training reasons, NXT may want to send, certain wrestlers down to TNA to show them a little bit more of the ropes, or maybe to send NXT wrestlers out to fill out a particular TNA pay-per-view, or vice versa, for TNA wrestlers to get certain exposure that they wouldn't normally get on TNA Impact through WWE and get them training on how to perform in front of a larger audience. And if NXT ever needs to fill out a PLE card of their own, they can now call on the talents of the TNA wrestlers to help out with that. But this is going to end up being outstanding promotion for TNA. And I think about their television deal. I think they're on Access TV, and I can see how this exposure can actually help TNA get a better TV deal. At the end of the day, we're getting into a period, and I'm saying it, we're getting into a boom period where media is going to want wrestling content. We are seeing wrestling leaving mainstream cable. WWE and AEW, they're on Netflix and HBO Max, and that's where they're going to end up being, in the foreseeable future. We are not turning back from that. So mainstream cable is going to need some sort of wrestling content. There is going to be a power vacuum. So I can see some media outlets seeing the dollar signs. They're seeing the $1 billion deal that WWE just signed with Netflix. They're seeing the multi-$100 million deal that AEW signed with Warner Brothers Discovery. And they're like, you know what? Professional wrestling is a moneymaker again. So let's get some of this bag. So I can see TNA being the next promotion that gets a really good television deal. And this partnership with WWE, I think, is going to be really key in that. But yeah, we have Dolph Ziggler, TNA champion, who now has an in back to WWE. The Hardy Boys now have an in back to WWE. This is absolutely crazy. And I'm just thinking about now all of the different matches. We have the possibility of seeing something like Moose versus Obafemi or Trick Williams. Or we have ABC going up against Fraxium. Masha Slamovic going up against Roxanne Perez or Julia or Stephanie Vecker. But yeah, we've been talking about forbidden doors for the past few years, where AEW has been able to get all of these working relationships with New Japan and buying out Ring of Honor and doing all of these really cool cross-promotional shows. But this is just absolutely game-changing. But in my mind, this pretty much guarantees Jordynne Grace showing up in the Women's Royal Rumble and Joe Hendry, at the very least, showing up in the men's. And I wouldn't be even surprised if Dolph Ziggler made an appearance. And this is going to allow things for like AJ Styles to join the TNA Hall of Fame. And we're also in a situation where we can have a shared library between TNA and WWE where we can see old AJ Styles matches and it's not going to feel weird or forced. This is just a wild time. But I am in the same boat as you guys. I'm going to be checking out developments as they come, and I am just going to strap myself in for this crazy ride. NXT TNA, let's fucking go. But do you guys have any thoughts or feelings on this new WWE TNA partnership? Share your thoughts, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to hit that bell icon so you can get notifications as well. Thanks a lot, everyone. Take care.